The council dome rotated slowly beneath the binary suns, its silver skin gleaming like the blade of a weapon never meant to rust. Inside, silence ruled. 12 species, each the apex of its own world, sat on their hovering thrones arranged in a perfect circle. Floating data orbs pulsed faintly above them, their contents unreadable to the uninvited. Every breath, every blink in that room was documented, translated, filed. A 13th chair stood empty. Until now. The doors groaned open with no grandeur, just function. The figure who entered walked without escort. No banners preceded him, no entourage followed. A single human, tall, lean, face unreadable. Not decorated, not armored, just draped in dark formal wear, sleeves rolled at the cuffs like he hadn't bothered to adjust to protocol. The Krell delegate, a vaporous being of swirling blue plasma, hissed softly. "So this is Earth's response," it muttered. The human stopped at the circle's center. His name was Alden Price. Former field interpreter. Chosen not by rank or bloodline, but by vote, a last-minute appeal sent from a fractured Earth still limping from its last invasion. No rank. No weapons. Just words. He looked up at the ring of eyes, scales, lenses, and sensors. "I'm not here to explain humanity," Alden said. "I'm here because I was the only one who didn't volunteer." A pause. A rustle of wings from the avian Separi. The Allure representative twitched its pincers. "Explain," growled Chancellor Rizek, all 6 of his reptilian hands clasped. Alden turned slowly, voice low. "You've all watched our feeds. Heard our transmissions. Monitored our wars like sport. You know our flaws better than we do." The air thickened as translation devices flickered, no lag, no confusion. "So tell me," Alden continued, "what exactly are you afraid we'll become?" The room shifted, energy suddenly uncertain. The Calyx diplomat, liquid mercury shaped into a man, rippling with unease, leaned forward. "You burn planets to win deserts. Poison oceans to own coastlines. You fought each other with fire, steel, and atom, then reached for the stars with the same hands still shaking from blood. What hope is there that you won't bring that to us?" Alden's eyes scanned them. "That's not fear. That's projection." Gasps. No delegate had ever spoken with that kind of defiance inside the dome. He continued, tone steady. "You accuse us of chaos, but your unity is compliance. Your peace is enforced silence. And still you fear us? A fractured species barely out of orbit?" Then Shar Priestess floated forward, light radiating from her crystallized form. "Words mean little, human. The Council summoned Earth for a final review. One more violent incursion, one more violation of interstellar code, and Earth will be classified containment level 7. Trade cut. Travel barred. Defenses authorized." Alden didn't flinch. "And what happens when Earth doesn't comply?" That landed like a dropped blade. "War," rasped the Krell. "Swift and surgical. Your systems are already mapped. Your atmosphere's already modeled," added the Separi, feathers bristling. "Your resistance, irrelevant." Alden exhaled through his nose. No smile, no fear, just weariness. He reached into his coat, slowly. The guards tensed. Instead of a weapon, he pulled a cracked comm unit. He raised it like an offering. "This was my sister's," he said. "She died during the first Jovian incursion. I held on to it because I thought I'd fix it one day. Thought maybe I'd hear her voice again." He looked up. "But she's gone. Because you let them invade, let us bleed. You wanted to see what we'd do. What we'd become. You studied us while we buried our own." The Allure clacked in irritation. "You speak of pain as if it makes you noble." "No," Alden said quietly. "I speak of pain because it taught us one thing you forgot." He stepped closer to the circle's heart. "We don't unite because of bloodlines or orders. We unite because of grief. Because every time someone tried to break us, we learned how to bend. Until you break others in turn," spat Rizek. "Maybe," Alden admitted. "But if we do, we don't erase them. We remember. And we build memorials in the shape of the fallen. Silence again. Then the Calyx asked, Is this your defense? That you mourn well? Alden's gaze locked with his. No. My defense is this. He stepped back, centered himself, and let the next words fall like stone. You're not afraid of what we'll do to the galaxy. You're afraid we'll survive you. And that was it. No table slam. No dramatic speech. Just that one line, true and sharp enough to split bone from belief. The council didn't respond at first. Some whispered. Some left the room without speaking. Some sat frozen, still calculating the impact. Alden stood alone in that silence. Then, a quiet beep. The Cephre's data orb had changed color. Red to amber. Amber to white. Review vote, suspended. War decree, withheld. Council deliberation, extended, indefinitely. As he turned to leave, the Calyx's voice followed him, low and unsure. You should have spoken more. Alden didn't look back. I didn't need to. Outside, the dome's doors closed behind him with a whisper. And far above, unseen by any, an old Earth satellite pinged alive for the first time in decades, transmitting a single encrypted signal back toward Sol. He spoke. They didn't arrest Alden Price. They did something worse, they invited him back. 3 cycles later, he stood in a guest wing of the council's spire, a curved tower that never touched the ground, hovering, as if its occupants refused to be rooted in anything real. The room was elegant but sterile, its walls humming with surveillance, its silence intentional. Outside the transparent wall, the city of Vox Primaris pulsed beneath a bruise-colored sky. Ships flowed in and out like blood through veins, orderly, unfeeling. A voice crackled behind him. You've started something you don't understand. Alden turned. The woman leaning against the wall wasn't from the council. Her jacket was too worn, boots scuffed, dark hair tied back in the way that says function, not fashion. Her eyes were unmistakably human. Name's Riva Chen, she said. Stationed here before the Soul Accords fell apart. Now I'm the ghost they pretend not to see. Alden frowned. You were with the embassy? Before it was politely disassembled, yes. I stayed behind. Someone had to watch how they talked when they thought we weren't listening. She tossed a datapad to him. Read that. The file opened with a council seal, classified internal brief. Lines of Zaire script flickered, translated instantly. Subject, Project Oubliette. Objective, suppress human mimetic spread. Method, non-lethal containment of cultural artifacts, psychological soft reduction. Status, active. Alden scrolled slowly. They're erasing us. Softly. Not with weapons, with forgetting, Riva said. They're calling it peacekeeping. He sat eyes hard. They can't vote for open war, so they'll turn us into background noise. Riva nodded. And you walked into the heart of it with one sentence and no follow-up plan. He handed back the pad. Then help me build one. Later, the council reconvened, not in the dome, but the lower chamber. A sign of informality. Or isolation. Only 5 members remained. The others were deliberating elsewhere. Reality, some feared him. Others were weighing the political fallout. A few, perhaps, were listening closer than they let on. Chancellor Rizek returned first, flanked by armored guards. We've analyzed your claim of cultural memory. It's flawed. Humans do forget. Often. Even deliberately. Alden didn't rise. Forgetting isn't the crime. Refusing to remember is. The Calyx shimmered. You believe we seek to erase your species. We're not. We are integrating. Like you did with the Saraxi? Alden asked. Absorbed their science, silenced their art, renamed their homeworld Sector 4K like it was a spreadsheet. Rizek bared his fangs. The Saraxi consented. They surrendered, Alden replied. You changed the words, not the facts. The Sephari delegate leaned forward. You speak of truth as if it's static. Context is truth. Alden stood now, stepping into the center of the ring once again. Then let's add new context. He raised a small orb from his coat. This is a generational seed from Earth's Stepwell archives. It contains every story, song, and human voice recorded in the last century. He activated it. The room flooded with fragments, a mother singing lullabies, a teacher explaining gravity, protesters chanting in the rain, a man whispering, "I forgive you," through a prison glass. No violence. No declarations. Just fragments of being. "I brought no army," Alden said softly. "Just memory." Then Sharp Priestess finally spoke again. "What is it you want, human?" "Recognition," he answered. "Not tolerance. Not surveillance. Just a seat. One chair. At your table. We exist. You won't forget us again." That night, someone tried to kill him. He heard the shift in air pressure just before the projectile punched through the wall. Missed his head by an inch. He dropped, rolled, grabbed the shard from the shattered screen and pressed it into his palm, ready. But no second shot came. Riva burst in 5 seconds later. Sniper drone. Council model. Cloaked. He looked at her. Council sanctioned? Or rogue faction? Same outcome. She helped him up. "You're not a diplomat, Alden. You're a symbol. And symbols get targeted." He looked at the bloody line across his cheek, already clotting. "Then let's be harder to erase." The next day, they weren't invited back to the chambers. Instead, they were given coordinates. An off-world vault. Council branded but long decommissioned. No guards. Just silence. Riva checked the map. This location was restricted to internal preservation. Memory suppression vaults. What would they store there? Proof, she said grimly. And things they swore no one would need again. They took an unregistered craft, landed quietly. Inside, rows of containment pods hummed like the air was holding its breath. He cracked open the first. Inside, a child's drawing. Human unmistakably. Stick figures standing beneath 2 suns. Words scrawled in shaky English. "We are still here." Riva choked. These are refugee records. From the Europa Exodus. They told us those were lost in solar flare corruption. They weren't lost, Alden said. They were buried. Behind him, the lights flickered, power grid override. Doors slammed shut. "Someone knows we're here," Riva said, drawing a sidearm. Alden grabbed the pod's memory crystal. "We take this back," he said. "We show them. They buried our voices. Let's remind them what they sound like." As the vault locked down around them, alarms rising, lights dying, one truth remained clear. This wasn't diplomacy anymore. It was resurrection. They never meant to escape the vault. Only to make it out alive long enough to be seen. But Riva had prepared for worse. She bypassed the first lock override with a skin hack, a biokey implanted in her wrist during her final days at the embassy. It wasn't official. It wasn't even legal anymore. But it worked. The door hissed open in segments, slow and reluctant, like the system resented them for surviving. Alden carried the memory crystal in a shockproof pouch, thumb pressed tight against its case. His eyes scanned the dark corridor ahead. No guards. No lights. Only echoing power relays humming beneath the floor, like a throat trying not to speak. Riva gestured. "Emergency shaft. 5 minutes to the surface if we run." Alden nodded. They didn't run. They moved like ghosts, silent, alert, expecting metal footsteps or the whine of a charged barrel. Instead, they found something worse. A humanoid figure stood blocking the shaft exit. Not armored. Not alive. A proxy, council-manufactured enforcer. No face. Just a mirrored surface where a face should be, reflecting Alden's features back at him with cold precision. "Unauthorized retrieval of Memory Core Artifact 342B is a breach of Interstellar Code 9A," it said, voice clipped and human. Alden stepped forward. "It belonged to us." The proxy raised its arm. "Surrender." Riva fired first. The shot pierced the torso. The proxy staggered, sparked, but didn't fall. Another shot. Still standing. A third, this time from Alden, straight to the core. It collapsed, twitching. They didn't wait. Back in Vox Primaris, news had already spread. A leak from inside the council dome. Grainy footage of Alden's first address had found its way to public comm streams. The line that made the council freeze: "You're not afraid of what we'll do to the galaxy. You're afraid we'll survive you." Was playing on a loop across outer colonies. Hashtags flared. Forums lit up. Earth's allies and former colonies started speaking, on record. Some praised him. Others warned. But no one ignored it anymore. Inside a hidden relay chamber beneath the embassy ruins, Riva connected the memory crystal to an uplink. "Once we do this, there's no undo," she said. Alden looked at the console. "I'm not here to win arguments. I'm here to end the lie." She nodded and hit transmit. Data streamed, raw, emotional, undeniable. Refugee recordings, artwork from camps, children's voices, testimonials from humans erased from council archives. It wasn't violent. It was real. That made it more dangerous. Hours later, the dome summoned them again. This time, every chair was filled. No absent delegates. No excuses. They couldn't afford silence now. Alden walked in with Riva at his side. The Calyx delegate was the first to speak. "You've violated council security. Tampered with sealed evidence. Illegally transmitted species classified material to non-affiliated networks." Alden didn't argue. "I did." The room stirred. "And I'll do worse," he added. "If you try to bury us again." Rizek snarled. "You threaten the council?" Alden met his glare. "I'm offering a choice. Face the truth with us, or become the lie we expose." Then Sharp Priestess gestured to a hovering screen. Footage played, a Saraxi elder breaking down in tears after hearing a lost human lullaby. A Karen child repeating Earth poetry once thought lost. Coalition pilots, non-human, standing outside Earth's old embassy, holding signs written in Terran glyphs. A message: "We remember you." The council remained quiet. Then, the twist came. The Sephari delegate stood slowly. "This has gone too far. The emotional instability of this species has become contagion. Other races are now infected with its sentimental distortion." It raised a small orb, dark, blinking. A vote trigger. Rizek followed. So did the Allure. 3 delegates lit their orbs in red. Riva's eyes widened. "That's a purge motion." Alden didn't blink. "They're voting to isolate Earth permanently." "No," she whispered. "They're authorizing tactical removal." A strike. Not sanctions. Erasure. The Calyx delegate hesitated. Then did something no one expected. It stood. And turned to Alden. "In your first speech, you said pain taught your species how to bend. That survival forged unity. Perhaps we need to bend too." Its orb lit up, not red, but white. Veto. The chamber erupted. Arguments flew in 8 languages. Translations trailed like smoke behind every word. The vote stalled. Then Sharp Priestess turned to Alden. "Say it then. Say what you truly want. Not survival. Not memory. Say it plainly." Alden stepped forward, voice clear. "We want a seat." Gasps. Riva's hand tightened on his wrist. "Not a throne," Alden continued. "Not dominion. Just a seat. Among equals. Because that's what you fear, isn't it? That we might be like you, but free to speak." His gaze passed over each delegate. "We're already in your streets. In your songs. In your children's stories. Not by force. Not by war. By echo." A breath passed through the dome. The vote orb flickered. Not red. Not white. But green. A motion never used before. Humanity, Provisional Council member. Voting rights, limited. Seat conditional. Observation period, initiated. It wasn't a victory. But it wasn't death. It was something rarer. It was beginning. After the dome emptied, Alden sat alone on the edge of the amphitheater stairs, hands shaking for the first time in days. Riva dropped beside him, silent. "Do you think it'll hold?" he asked. She shrugged. "They'll test it. They'll resent it. They'll try to make you regret it. But it's real. It's real." She passed him a data chip. "Next time, don't come unarmed." He raised an eyebrow. She grinned. "It's a speechwriter. From Earth. Still knows how to hit where it hurts." He laughed, short, genuine. Then sat back and looked up at the artificial sky. One step. And the galaxies shifted. The council seat wasn't a chair. It was a silence waiting to be filled. Alden Price stood before it now, the platform extending like a tongue of metal toward the central light. 12 delegates sat encircling him, their expressions unreadable, too alien, too trained. He wasn't nervous. But he wasn't ready either. Not for what Riva had just told him minutes ago, in a whisper tight with rage. "They're calling in the oubliette protocol." He blinked. "I thought that was just theory." "It's real. And worse, it's automated." He looked down at the crystal in his palm. Human memory, cultural fragments, refugee names, songs of a species trying to hold on. The council vote had granted Earth a seat, yes, but factions were still working beneath that surface. "They're going to wipe every known human cultural signal from the relay networks," Riva said. "Mimetic erasure disguised as a security update. It's already propagating. Once the cycle completes, it'll rewrite our existence into background data." Alden's heart beat once, hard. He stepped into the light. "You asked for a seat," Chancellor Rozek growled. "You have it. What now, human?" Alden didn't speak immediately. He looked around the room, saw the fatigue buried in the Calyx's subtle tremor, then Char's folded arms of doubt, the Allore's fingers drumming in agitation. "You made the right call. But you're about to unmake it." The chamber shifted. The words had weight. Riva stood at the perimeter, watching, hands clenched. Alden continued. "There's an erasure protocol deploying across your relay grid. Coded as a mimetic security patch. But it's not targeting malware. It's targeting us." Laughter from the Sephari delegate. "Conspiracy." The Calyx frowned. "We never authorized." "You didn't have to," Riva said, stepping forward. "You built the machine to run without needing permission. That's the danger with fear. It starts with codes and ends in fire." She held up a projector. The room dimmed. A waveform appeared, then flattened. Voices disappeared line by line. Earth's old music. Its languages. Its stories. Rewritten to null. 36 sectors already scrubbed, she said. "By the time this meeting ends, children will wake up on distant moons no longer knowing what Earth was." The silence now was not diplomatic. It was dread. "You gave us a seat," Alden said quietly. "Now we're asking for something harder." "What?" Bialor hissed. "What more do you demand?" "Stop the protocol," Alden said. "Reverse the signal. Restore what's been taken. That would expose vulnerabilities across the grid," argued the Sephari. "This system stabilizes billions of cognitive interfaces." Alden shook his head. "No. It censors them. It prevents empathy. That's what you fear from us. Not invasion. Not conquest. Contagion. That we remind others how to feel what you've spent centuries teaching them to forget." He reached into his coat and pulled out a secondary crystal, one Riva had decrypted hours earlier. "This," he said, "is not human." Confused glances passed around the chamber. "This," he said louder, "is Zyuri. A nursery hymn. Lost during the War of Split Moons. Thought extinct. But it was preserved by a refugee child on Earth. She sang it in a Terran shelter, taught by her human caretaker." He activated the crystal. A soft, breathy melody filled the chamber. Alien, but unmistakably a lullaby. Sad. Beautiful. Echoing. No one spoke. This is what you'd erase with us, Alden said. The Nshar priestess stood. There will be consequences. There already are, Alden said. You created a machine to forget pain. We carry it. You built a galaxy of silence. We are noise. You called us threat. But what if we're the cure? More silence. Then a voice spoke, soft, old, human. I believe him. Everyone turned. A new figure stepped forward, escorted by Riva. An old man, bald, wrapped in simple robes. One eye replaced by cybernetics. Who? Rizek began. Ambassador Hale, the Calyx whispered. From the original Mars Accord. He vanished, the Sephari hissed. I didn't vanish, Hale said. I was buried. Politely. He placed a trembling hand on Alden's shoulder. Let him finish. Alden straightened. I'm not asking you to love us, he said. I'm not asking you to be us. I'm asking you to stop deleting us. Because we belong here. Not above you. Not below. Beside. He raised his hand. The chamber lights dimmed. A final projection rose, a single image, ancient, pixelated. Earth. Blue, fragile, alive. Beneath it, the first known transmission Earth ever sent into space. A child's voice, laughing. I'm here. The council voted again. One by one. Green. Green. White. Green. Even the Sephari hesitated, then turned its orb white. The protocol was aborted. Outside, under the false twilight, Alden stepped out onto the grand platform. News feeds exploded. Screens across the galaxy lit up. Riva joined him, quiet. You did it, she said. No, Alden replied. We reminded them they could. Above them, the stars blinked, some human, some not. None alone. Behind them, the council door remained open. Just a crack. Final image. A single human child, on a distant mining moon, puts down his work gloves, turns toward a flickering screen, and listens, eyes wide, as an old Earth lullaby plays. He doesn't know the words. But he hums along. And the galaxy, for the first time in ages, listens back.